NBA free agency is right around the corner. Some names are already being taken off the list by getting deals with their current clubs, and while this free agent class isn't exactly star-studded, it is filled with solid starters and great rotation players. And in a league where parity has never been higher, some teams may only be a rotation player or two away from contention. Here are some honorable mentions before we begin the top 10. First off, Kristaps Porzingis. The unicorn just got traded to the Celtics in a move where he had to take his player option and is hoping to be extended. Kristaps is coming off of his best season as a professional. After being marred by injuries, he came out and played 65 games, putting up 23.2 points, a career high, 8.4 boards, 2.7 assists, and a block and a half per game. A prototypical stretch 5 with the frame that can cause nightmares on defense, but it seems he's been taken off the board as a free agent. Another honorable mention, Brook Lopez, a true free agent coming off yet another brilliant year as a 280-pound 7-footer. At 34 years old, Brook has broken the mold for lumbering bigs to play pivotal, instrumental roles in today's game. Brook is going to be the case study for extending a big man's career, becoming a sniper on the offensive end, shooting 37% from deep, averaging 15.9 points and grabbing 6.7 boards. Lopez has shown immense value for the Bucks, but his scoring is just the tip of the iceberg of his transformational style. Lopez has revolutionized workouts for bigs, focusing on hip strength to not be just playable defensively, but hyper-effective. Brook has become one of the best defensive players in the league recently, even joining the All-NBA defensive first team this year, and is looking to extend his career with what may be his last big payday. At number 10, we have Kyrie Irving. We are starting this off in controversy. Now first, Kyrie is one of the two most talented players on this list, but tell me where he goes on max long-term money where it makes sense. In a vacuum? Anywhere. But Kyrie can't be graded in a vacuum. His game is malleable, but there's always something that just follows him. The circus shouldn't be worth it for a young team, and the chance of one of those somethings happening for a contender, it could derail their whole season. But in Dallas, it makes the most sense. Dallas's future has become inextricably tied to Kyrie Irving's decision, which may not be a bad thing. In 20 games, Kyrie averaged 27.6 dimes and 5 boards on 51, 39, 95 shooting splits and was a monstrous plus 96 plus minus in those 20 games. The Mavs, however, were only 8-12 and missed the play-in tournament. But that's not tied to Irving. More so the roster construction around Luka and Kyrie. There's more work that needs to be done in Dallas, however, it does start with retaining Kyrie Irving. At 9, Cam Johnson. Now why is Cam Johnson ahead of Kyrie Irving? Because he can fit anywhere. Cam is in the heart of his prime at 27 years old, but his skill set should be desired across the league. A smooth shooter that is a sniper from distance, but also has a beautiful touch on his pull-up jump shots. A 39% three-point shooter for his career, done on high volume, is the kind of stretch shooting teams look for. He's one of the few players that just cannot be left open, and anytime he has it with an inch of space, it just feels like that shot is good. Post the Brooklyn trade, Cam put up what would have been career highs in scoring, rebounds, assists, and steals, all while competing to be a positive defender. Detroit has been linked to Cam, but as a restricted free agent, the Nets have all the rights to match to retain his services. The deal is rumored to be around a 4-year, $80 to $100 million, which sounds like a ton, but could be used as a trade chip to a contending team, especially towards the back 2 years of that deal with the booming cap ceiling. At 8, Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma built quite a resume the last 2 seasons with the Wizards. Given the opportunities to play more on ball, Kuz became a 21-point-per-game scorer and crashed the glass to the tune of 7 boards a night. While those numbers can probably be attributed to more touches on a bad team, maybe even throw in some extra motivation with his impending free agency too. But it's the way Kuzma got his baskets that was impressive. He evolved from a spot-up shooter to a legitimate creator off the bounce and was solid with scoring under and around the basket. Also, despite shooting 33% from 3 overall, he did manage to drain 40% of his corner triples. He also put his 6'9" frame to work on defense and on the glass, putting up his highest 2 rebounding seasons of his career in Washington. The balance of offense, improved defense, and rebounding should be a valuable asset to the right team, but more importantly, at the right price. The current reported tax of him being $30 million a season is kinda ridiculous. At 7, Fred VanVleet. VanVleet is an undersized point guard with low efficiency as a scorer, coming off of his second worst shooting season since his rookie year, and his worst three-point shooting season of his career. But Fred offers much more value than his lack of efficient scoring would suggest. VanVleet is a gifted and willing passer, placing 11th in assist-to-turnover ratio last season, 12th in 2021, and 14th in 2020. And while he may be tasked with some questionable offensive opportunities in Toronto, in the right system, his scoring could become better with his straight-up three-point shooting chops. FVV shot 48% on the right corner and 38% on the left. Despite his size too, VanVleet is a strong perimeter defender, and when tasked with tougher post assignments, his strong hands and low center of gravity offer opportunities at steals and unlikely stops. I have Bruce Brown at 6. If you had to draw up a perfect low usage role player, you probably created Bruce Brown. He's a strong, switchable defender who, despite giving up some height at 6'4", his 6'9" wingspan still allows him to play basically 4 positions. He can drain threes, shooting 36% on the season, but he shot 45% from the left wing and 52% on the left corner. He showed some strong ability in Brooklyn, but truly flourished alongside Jokic and Murray in Denver, playing a pivotal role for the eventual 2023 champs, even snagging Game 4 from Miami with his 21-point outburst. His ability to do whatever is needed can add value to every team in the league. Bring the ball up? Sure. Take a weaker defender off the dribble? Absolutely. He drains open threes, he cuts to the basket, he keeps defenses honest. Just a great player that every team should be offering that mid-level exception to. I know the Lakers are eyeing him with their non-taxpayer mid, but I'm sure Denver is looking to bring him back. At 5, Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves had a real coming out party this season. In his second year, he really improved across the board, averaging 13 points, 3 boards, and 3 assists on 53, 40, 86 splits. And he got even better in the postseason, putting up a strong 16.9 3 boards and 4 dimes on 44% from deep, and just a hair under 90 from the free throw line. His offensive creation is what absolutely boosted his value. His ability to retain his dribble, find strong passing angles, and just play high IQ basketball truly shined last season. He has become known for a bit of foul grifting off of his dribble penetration, which has become a valuable asset to his game. Reeves really thrived under pressure in the bright but somehow amplified spotlight of the LeBron James era Lakers. The Spurs are rumored to be interested in Reeves' services, but the Lakers are also rumored to match any deal, even a 4-year max worth upwards of $100 million. Jeremy Grant comes in at 4. Would Grant be this high if Damian Lillard was moved from Portland? Probably not, but Grant is still a very valuable free agent. He's expected to command a hefty payday of about $30 million per season over 4 or 5 years, which sounds like a lot, because it is. Grant is still, however, one of the better wing players in the league. He shot a career-high 40.1% from 3 on his way to averaging 20 points and 4 boards for the Blazers. There was a 17-game stretch from November 2nd through December 4th where Grant put up some monster numbers. He averaged 25.5, 4.2 boards, and 3 assists with a block and a steal per game, shooting 47% from deep. The numbers showed to be unsustainable, but it's a glimpse of what he can provide any team he may join. But his real value is truly tied to Portland trying to thread the needle in keeping Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe while still appeasing Damian Lillard's quote-unquote dream scenario of keeping Grant and getting Draymond Green. At 3, Chris Middleton. Middleton is coming off of his worst regular season since the 2016-17 season, averaging just 15 points, 4 boards, and 5 dimes on 43, 31, 90% splits. This is mostly because he missed a ton of time from last offseason with knee issues and a surgery on his left wrist, and it did take him a while to return to form, but he was leaning towards that by the end of the year, putting up 20 points, 5 boards, and 7 assists on 40% from the field. Although the Bucks season did end in disappointing fashion in 5 games to the 8th-seeded Heat, and Middleton's value couldn't have been lower coming off of those multiple injuries, averaging well below the standard he set the previous 5 years, there's still a big chance he can retain his peak form. Middleton has the ability to score from all 3 levels and is a severely underrated passer. That value is huge for the Bucks in particular at the end of close games, where he tends to be the fulcrum of their offensive execution. Add to that his defensive versatility, and Middleton could bring the value up to many teams. Milwaukee would be crazy to let him walk without having an insurance policy in place. At 2, Draymond Green. It didn't feel like that long ago where the Warriors were crippled with long-term money, but they traded away Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, and it seems as though they are back in business to add Draymond Green for close to 4 years and $100 million. While Green's numbers may never jump off the page at anybody putting up a simple 8, 7, and 7, there's no success in Golden State without what Draymond brings to the table. The defense, the leadership, the two-man game with Steph Curry, and the grit, all of which have become synonymous with the dynasty out in the Bay Area. But Green may be on the move. The Kings and the Blazers are reportedly interested in snagging Green's services regardless of price tag. The Kings are an interesting sleeper to sign Green, and their system is situated perfectly for an easy transition for Green to fit right in. Mike Brown runs similar motion offense, and Green would slot into what we saw from Sabonis all season. The Blazers would be a little rougher to slot him in, but if any player at all is comparable to Stephen Curry, it's probably Damian Lillard, so the two-man game would still be fun to see. But the future successes of at least 2 franchises are almost thoroughly tethered to Draymond's decision. And at 1, James Harden. Now, James Harden did now opt into his player option to stay in Philly, but he is expected to be traded, but we're still going to put him at 1. Now, Harden may not be the MVP player that he once was. He was once one of the best offensive engines in all of basketball from both a scoring and facilitating standpoint. He's trailed off with age and poor habits on his own body, but Harden still can average 20 and 10 in his sleep. Harden was directly responsible for 2 of the 3 wins that the Sixers got against Boston in that 7-game series, despite his slight decline as a player. Philly does have some decisions to make with him. They don't exactly have a backup plan, and Harden and Embiid have become a dynamite tandem. They led the league in assist connections with Harden as a passer and Embiid as a scorer by a massive margin, 210 connections. The next closest was Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield from Indiana at 135. Harden doesn't seem to have many locations for his relocation. Houston has been mentioned, but it may have just been a leverage play. The Clippers are now also in play to get him too. It'll be interesting to see what the trade market is for Harden, but he has been in the playoffs every year of his career, a streak he looks to continue. Let me know your top free agents in the comments below. Thanks for watching. As always, it's much appreciated. If you like this content, hit that like button to help the video in the algorithm, and I'll see you next time.